Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to week 5 of our summer reading program, Tales and Tales. Now, one of the coolest things about getting to be a librarian is you get to do things like story time, and you get to use cool puppets like our hippo friend right here. Now, what we're going to do today is show you how you can make your own hippo puppet using stuff at home. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through what's in our packet, and then we will get started on making one. So of course you're going to get some instructions on how to make the hippo puppet, and you're going to get some of the supplies that you need to make the hippo puppet. If you take a look, you've got paper plates, a paper bag, and then some construction paper, and we'll use all of that to make the hippo. We also have a couple of color sheets for you guys and instructions on how to make an origami turtle. And for this week's prize, we have a door hanger and a magnetic bookmark for you guys. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started putting together our hippo puppets right now. Alright guys, really quick, we're going to go over the things that you're going to need to make your hippo puppet. We're going to need the instructions that should be in your packet. In your packet too, you're also going to find your paper bag, some cotton balls to make the teeth, a piece of construction paper or cardstock to make the ears, and 2 paper plates. Stuff you're going to have to supply from home will be some markers or paints to color your hippo, a ink pen or a pencil to do some drawing, a glue stick, some scissors, and a stapler to hold everything together. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started on the hippo. So the first thing you're going to need to do, we'll clear some space, is you need to cut the paper plates down to size. So to make sure that they're the right size, I put the paper bag and I line the top of the paper bag up with like the edge of the paper plate and try to get it in the center. To give me some lines to cut on, I draw very lightly with the pencil. And I'm basically just tracing where the paper bag lays on the paper plate. And since it's pencil, if you need to erase it later, you can do that pretty easily. So now that you've got this lined up, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut the sides of the paper plate off, following that line you just drew the best you can. Now before you do all of this, one thing I want to point out is if you decide you want to make your hippo a realistically colored hippo or even an unrealistically colored hippo, you need to go ahead and paint the plates, the bag, and your paper before you do it. That way it's a lot easier when they're separate pieces and instead of a whole bunch of pieces, or instead of one big thing. Alright, so your paper plates, you're going to separate them. You're going to fold one over, and on that end you want to make sure it's a nice fold right there. This one is going to be your hippo's mouth. Then you're going to fold this one over and make sure you got a good fold. After you get it folded, you're going to want to cut it in half along where you folded it. This piece is going to end up being your hippo's face. We'll put those to the side right now. So hippos also have ears. So you need to make some ears, and you can use either the construction paper that we put in or the cardstock for that. And Hippo's ears are kind of a leaf shape. So you just draw kind of a leaf shape there on the paper. Some of them are kind of a little rounded, so you can draw a little round shape there too. They also will need some nostrils, so if you draw kind of a little circle, well, we'll fix that later. I think I'm going to go for the rounded right here. And what you do is you cut what you drew out of the paper, and you notice I folded it in half because when I get done cutting it out, I'll unfold it, cut it down the middle, and now I have 2 ears instead of 1. And nostrils don't work quite the same way. I think, yeah, because you're going to, when you unfold it, it's a bit big actually. I think I can cut this one right in half, and I'll have 2 nostrils for the hippo. Alright, so this takes us to, we've got all of our parts, this takes us to putting it together. So you're going to take the hippo's mouth, you're going to open up this part of the bag, and you're going to slide it up under, and then staple it right here and right there. Now you need to staple down the big part of his mouth too, and that's pretty easy. You're going to separate the side of the bag right there and put a staple right here. Separate the side of the bag again so that you only have half of the bag, and staple right there, and that keeps it from flapping up and down, or at least this bottom part of his mouth. You want the top part to be able to flap up and down. Now you take his face, and you're going to lay it on top of the paper bag, or the paper plate that you use to make the top part of his mouth, and you'll staple it right there, and you'll staple it right there. Make sure you get both paper plates and the paper bag. So there you've got your head for your hippo. Now you want to put his ears on, and again you just tuck those behind the paper plate, and you just I can't get a good grip on it. There we go. Tuck it behind the paper plate, and you staple one ear on. Take the other one, and you can kind of turn it around however you feel looks natural for your hippo. Maybe his ears are a little lopsided, maybe he's got one ear bigger than the other, but it doesn't matter. So there you go. Now at this point you're going to need to use the glue stick, and you can glue on some nostrils if you want to. These aren't going to show up too well because everything is white paper that I've got set up. So instead of doing that, I'm going to use a marker. Actually, I think I'm going to use a marker with a fine tip. And I will draw a couple of hippo nostrils right there, and I'll color them in. And then, since we're doing all this, I'm going to draw a couple of big hippo eyes. And at this point, you can do a couple of different things. If you've got some big googly eyes at home, you can use those. I'll put these right where I drew those little dots. And you guys have yourself a hippo with some googly eyes, or if you just want to draw them in, you can do that yourself. You can add some extra details. Maybe you want to make sure you can see the inner parts of his ear. So you draw like that. Oh, you want to have him have a tongue inside of his mouth. Now, the hippos are famous for having those big teeth. So what we have for you guys right here are these cotton balls for you to put in the teeth. You're going to need to use your glue stick. Now, I found the easiest way to do this with the glue stick is to actually take the cotton ball, kind of squunch it a little bit on the glue stick so you get the glue on it, and then you're going to want to space it out in his mouth. Maybe shape them up a little bit to look like a tooth. Squunch it a little bit so you get some glue on there. It looks a little gross before it dries, but that's okay. Scrunch it up there in his mouth. And then we want to do the same thing with the top. But we want to put them in there so that they don't smash into each other. So there we got one up there. And then we'll put this one, even it up about there, shape it up a little bit. So there he's got his teeth. And so what happens when you get it all put together, you can open it up, slide your hand up through the paper bag, put your fingers through the back of his mouth, and here you have your hippo. And see, he opens his mouth very wide for you to see all of his hippo teeth. And that, my friends, is your hippo puppet. I want to see you guys make your hippo puppets. Send what you made to me so that I can hopefully put them up on our Facebook and share with everybody what we're doing here with our summer reading program. So we'll see you guys next time, and you guys have a good week. Bye. So here's our finished product, guys, our hippo puppet. I noticed while I was going through making it for you, I didn't get a good shot of him. So here we have him with all of his big mouth glory. I hope you guys had some fun putting together your hippo puppets. Again, like I said, be sure if you take a picture of it, send it to us via our Facebook, and we would love to be able to put what you're working on up on our Facebook. We'll see you guys next week.